Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Deep Rock Galactic. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Zarel. Let's get to it. Alright, so today we're doing the deep dive codenamed Frozen Crater. But before we get to that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. Alright, so let's get into it. So as you know, the deep dive is a three-part or three-stage foray into Hoxies, into kind of a raid-like environment where you can go in by yourself or with up to 3 other players, and it could be match-made or it could be randoms, or pre-made or randoms, I guess I should say. And if you're by yourself, you can still have Bosco with you. First stage has elite threats as the modifier. These guys are faster, they do more damage, and have more health. So it'll be more difficult to take them out and more dangerous. And the crux of this one is 7 Aquarks and recover a black box, which is controlling a zone, staying in the zone, and defending against enemies. So unlike normal assignments, you are unable to progress to the next stage until you complete both objectives, unlike a normal assignment which has one objective which is mandatory and one that is optional. So with the black box, you'll want to, if it is in a covered area, clear out the area so that you can see where the enemies are coming from and you're not getting hit from a weird angle. Additionally, make sure that if you have a gunner in the group of people that you're playing with, that they can put down a shield when it gets a little bit hectic. And do make sure that you're talking with your teammates so you know what's going on and what is happening. Additionally, unlike sometimes when you do an point extraction, there are only 7 Aquarks on the stage, so hopefully you have a scout to kind of look around the stage to see where they're all at. Once you call in the drop pod, you will have to wait for a couple of minutes before it actually shows up. And once it does, you'll need to make a beeline to get there. So you have to hold out against the hordes of bugs that are going to be coming after you. And then you have to make your way to the drop pod. And also, you don't want to, use any more ammo and gear than you have to, as everything carries over from one stage to the next. Your health, your ammo, your grenades, your traversal tools, all that stuff carries over, as well as the gold and nitra that you have collected thus far. And even if you have some on your person, when you get to the next stage, it'll still be there. So if you are swamped by enemies trying to get out of the stage, you can wait till the next stage to drop them in the mule or in the rig, depending on what situation you happen to find yourself in. Now, although it is optimal to have all 4 players make it back to the drop pad, if for some reason some of them are not, it's better to have 1 or 2 or 3 people survive and get on the drop pod than 0. If everyone goes down, then that's it, and you have to start all the way over from the beginning, from stage 1, and do all the stuff again. Now, that doesn't mean that you get all of the rewards. Any stages that you've passed, you will not get duplicate Matrix Cores 4. Alright, so on to stage 2. Stage 2 has another black box, but this time you are collecting alien eggs. Now this one does not have a modifier, so Lucky for you. However, as my team found out, there seemed to be a large number of exploders. So although it didn't have that exploder infestation as a modifier, there did seem to have quite a few exploders that we had to contend with. Now, once again, black box is a control. You're going to have swarms of enemies coming in. Put down a shield if necessary, and putting it down at the right time, of course, is going to keep people from going down. Putting it down at the wrong time, you'll have it recharging when you actually may need it. Detonators are extremely dangerous because they do a whole lot of damage when they get close to you, and then once you deplete their health, they blow up and leave a giant crater. So once you get all of the alien eggs and you do the black box, and all of this is giving you the opportunity to see more and more swarms of enemies, because each alien egg has a chance of spawning a swarm. It always spawns some enemies, but sometimes you get a swarm, which is, you always say, oh great. And then the black box has swarms of enemies while you're waiting for that to complete. Once you're done, then you just have to make your way to the drop pod. It's easiest to follow, relatively easy, I should say, to follow the mule. The mule can go up sheer cliffs, so until you're able to walk up a sheer side of a cliff, it may not be easy to follow the mule. If you can find your way, however, the best way is for you, whether it is following the signs that the mule leaves behind, or whether it is making your own way to the drop pod, make your way to the drop pod and get out. And that's stage 2. Hopefully you have a decent amount of nitrous stored up so that you can call drop pods in with abandon, because you're going to need it for stage 3. Stage 3 is take out 2 dreadnoughts from the cocoons and mine Morkite. However, this one is even more complex because it has haunted caves. So you have this ghostly detonator that follows someone around the cave at all times. As soon as you get off the drop pod, it's going to spawn that haunted horror, unknown horror, that detonator, which is sometimes difficult to see. But the trick here is to have one person take that unknown horror and get them away from the rest of the team. So 3 people are going to fight the dreadnought, whereas the one person will always be just out of arm's reach of the unknown horror.
Yeah, I got the horror busy if you guys can finish.
And that way you won't lose aggro on the horror, and the horror won't go after someone else. So you have to stay just outside of its striking distance and just say, okay, just a little bit further, and just go around in a circle. If you can bring it back to the landing site, then that would be great, because then you can just go around in a circle. Or if you have an area that you can do that, certainly do that. Once you have a detonator down, then you can go meet up with your team again and then make your way to the next one. Additionally, if you aren't able to or can't do that, you can also get the detonator into an area that has a small tunnel and have it try to follow you through one of those small tunnels. What it will do was it will have to slow down to create its own tunnel that's in order to follow you or your team. So you can do one of the two. The one is a guarantee where you won't have to worry, well, one person will have to worry about it, but everyone else can concentrate on the mission at hand, whereas the other one, you're going to have to kind of keep your head on a swivel to keep an eye out to see what's going on. Now, in our run, we had a Hive Guard and then the Lacerator and Arbalest, which, in my opinion, is the two more difficult dreadnoughts to take out, because the Lacerator Arbalest combination, you do some damage and then they go invulnerable and then they share health, so the one will come back up to health and then you have to use more ammo to bring them down. The Hive Guard, you have the Sentinels that you have to take out, and then you have to destroy the shielding and then do damage to the Hive Guard itself. And then it's just a lot of extra ammo, which is why I say make sure that you have plenty of nitra, because you are definitely going to need it for this stage. My team kind of starved itself on ammo in the first two stages, where we were constantly running out of ammo, and then we'd call in a drop pod only when we absolutely had to, when everyone was near bingo on fuel, ammo and gear and grenades, and then we would get half of ours back and then do the same thing over again, just knowing that the third stage usually is a little bit more difficult. Once you get the Morkite and the two dreadnoughts, call in a drop pod and you're done. Make sure to grab gold on your way out if you see any, as well as getting it throughout all the levels so that you can maximize the amount of credits that you're going to get at the end of the stage, or at the end of the deep dive. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing, and we'll see you next time.
At least we don't have to haul all these minerals around ourselves. Lloyd is up.
The mule is secured. Initiating launch sequence. Deep Rock Galactic thanks you for your good work. Drop pod will leave with or without you. Retrieving.
Good job, guys.
Rock and stone in the heart.